So, welcome to Why You're Successful in Life but Struggling in Love. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nisha. I'm your guide for today, mindset coach and self love expert, and I'm here to guide you. And I'm really happy that you're here. Okay, so here's what often happens: you're successful in other areas of your life. You're killing it in your career, you make the money, you buy the clothes, the things, and you're the person people lean on. You're smart, you're a responsible person, you're high achieving. But when it comes to love, something keeps not working. So does that sound familiar? So I'm going to get you to put it. I'm a big fan of the chat, so please feel free to play up the chat. And so I'm not just talking to like black boxes. And since it's a small, intimate group, you're welcome to unmute yourself. Okay, so does this sound familiar, right? Like this is what happens. So a little bit about me for those of you that don't know me. I grew up with sort of a very warped view of love, that it was conditional, not safe, and temporary. And through my own experiences, I became super hyper independent, built a life where I was like, I don't need anybody. I make the money, I have a career. I have literally climbed a 19,000-foot mountain. I've jumped out of planes, like whatever I could do to get the achievement, I've done it. And I became my own plus one and called it strength. Now, I love being my own plus one. I'm a fan. Be your own plus one first. That's what we're talking about. But behind it, there was a lot of grief and loss and trauma and pain for me. I kept attracting men that were emotionally unavailable because my patterns kept playing out and I wasn't available. So the record that was playing for me, you might have a similar record, sounds something like, I'm unlovable, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, I'm behind, I'm not good enough. Okay, so we all have our own version of that. And so I wasn't attracting healthy love. I was not emotionally available. So, what I realized, and I'm going to talk about today, is that I was trying to attract healthy love from an outdated identity, a version of me that was still carrying all the stuff, the grief, the loss, the trauma, the fear, and that version of me that believed that she was unlovable and broken. So I had to learn to really love myself and become the partner I want to attract. So this is what I talk about a lot is if you want to attract a partner, become that version of you. And it's so much easier to attract a healthy person into your life when you do that. And the biggest lesson I learned in my journey, which is well over 10 years of healing, and a lifetime of experiences is that I had to upgrade my identity and become the version of myself that was available and ready for healthy love. And that's exactly what I'm here to show you how to do today. So that version of me that's lying in the chair, she looks, I think, a little bit more ready for the right thing and that she loves herself than the woman in the corporate suit who was burnt out and exhausted for a decade. So, which sounds most like you right now? You can put it in, you can shout it out loud or drop your letter in the chat. I do everything myself and I've struggled to ask for help, or I feel exhausted from just carrying so much alone. I want love, but something invisible keeps blocking it that I can't see. And I keep attracting the same unavailable person over and over, or maybe it's all of the above. So, you're welcome to shout it out, or if not, that's okay too. But usually there's a mixture of this happening. And so what I want to talk about now are three myths that are keeping you stuck in love. And this is stuff we hear about love as it relates to high achieving women all the time. Oh, you just need to find the right person. So Sheryl Sandberg, former CEO of Meta, people told her she needed to find the right person after her husband died. She had a really hard time relying on other men for help and asking for help. She struggled a lot because of her patterns and her beliefs. And so you attract what you expect, not what you want. And until you make a shift inside, until she made a shift within where she did the work and said, it's okay for me to receive help, from a partner. Only then was she able to attract a partner, and she eventually remarried after that loss. Myth number two: oh, I need to be perfect before I'm ready for love. Beyonce, Queen Bey, has been very outspoken about how in her marriage to Jay-Z, she overperformed and she shrank herself, right? Like she tried to be perfect, even for Jay-Z, Beyonce of all people, of all women. So waiting for perfect is another way of staying safe. And we're not aiming for perfection here. That is impossible. It's the lowest bar you can set for yourself. Honesty and vulnerability is what's needed because your worthiness and what you believe about yourself is an inside job. So there's never a time where you're going to be perfect before you're ready. Absolutely not. Myth number three, as it relates to high achieving women and love, is my independence is my superpower. So Michelle Obama has talked a lot about in her marriage to Barack how she really struggled to ask for help. She was like, no, I can do it myself. And she had a hard time receiving help. When we don't want to receive something, it usually means some version of, I don't think I'm worthy of it. I can do it myself. So independence is great. They're wonderful qualities. I'm not saying in any way they're not, but a lot of those qualities that we use to build our businesses and kill it in the career are also what keeps love out because it puts this armor in front of you, right? It keeps pain out. Maybe you've been hurt, and it keeps love out too. So your independence is a superpower in many ways in your life, but it's not going to help you when it comes to softening and attracting the right person. And so you don't have a love problem. What I say is you have a relationship with yourself problem. And the great news is you can change that. It's absolutely changeable. So the missing link is what? What do we need to attract healthy love and become that version of us that has it? Self-love, we've all heard that word. This is the hill I will die on, is the prerequisite and the companion to romantic love because you can only give what you already have. If you don't have compassion for yourself, you can't give it to another person, truly. If you don't believe you're good enough, that belief will play out in every relationship you enter, even your friendships. Because who you attract is a mirror for what your shadow is. If you don't know how to receive love for yourself, meaning treat yourself with kindness, care, and compassion, it's very hard to receive that from another person. Or if you do, you're trying to fill a gap, and that usually doesn't go very well. So we attract love from wholeness. That's how we attract healthy love because nobody else can fill in what you haven't given yourself. And that's why the work starts with you. And this is something that I think a lot of women get wrong is we try to get that from someone else before we truly know how to give it to ourselves. So what's the solution? So the solution is to understand your identity, and I will talk about that in a minute, and then upgrade that identity to the version of you that has the love you desire. So what is your identity? It's not a label, but it's the thoughts that you repeat on autopilot. Relationships are hard. That's never going to happen for me. Men suck. Like whatever it is that's going on, like I'll always be alone. We repeat thoughts repeatedly without even thinking, and they become beliefs that we never question. And then we have habits that run on autopilot, like I'm lonely. One of my favorite ones was eating a bag of salt and vinegar chips on the couch. Like I would just, or drinking a bit too much to numb myself when I was unhappy and lonely. And they were just they were habits that ran on autopilot, and then emotional patterns that we inherit long before we had a choice. A lot of what we inherit isn't even ours. It's our parents, it's our upbringing, it's our experiences. So that's what your identity is. It's how you show up in the world. Whoops, a little too fast on the clicker. So how is your identity formed? So your identity is formed from your experiences, and they shape the beliefs that you have, which are just repeated thoughts. Like you watched your parents have a difficult marriage and then you started to believe, oh, marriage is hard. And that translates into behaviors where maybe you have a fear of marriage, you have a fear of relationships, and that becomes a part of how you act. It plays out in your relationships, you pick the wrong partners, and then affects the results that you're getting. So a lot of high achieving women end up becoming hyper independent. We're not born like that as babies. We become independent over time through our experiences. Somewhere you learned, I have to hold it all together because nobody's coming to help me. That was a big thing for me. Uber hyper independent. If I soften, I'm going to get hurt. And so these habits and behaviors become an identity running your love life. And the good news is that if an identity can be learned, it can be changed. And so, what I'm talking about isn't about becoming a fake person. It's not about becoming a version of you that's inauthentic or being perfect. It's really about becoming the best version of yourself so you have a better chance of attracting a healthy relationship. So, one of the ways I like to describe this is we've talked about baggage. We all have stuff and we all have baggage, right? And so our identity is formed of all these things that I talked about. How my parents raised me, the experiences that I had. Something happened to me when I was 7 that I probably don't even remember. My first bad relationship. Maybe I was bullied. All this stuff happens and it just keeps getting we just keep adding it on over and over again. Nobody's going to help me. Got to do it myself. And this is getting heavier and heavier. And then we take this baggage, and what a lot of women do is they take the baggage and then they just they change the behavior, right? They're like, okay, I hate online dating. So I'm going to try meeting somebody at a speed dating event. And but they're still taking the same baggage and changing the behavior. So you have to change the identity so you can change what's in here and start removing some of this stuff. We're all going to have carry-ons. We all have stuff, but it's about changing what's in here and replace it with stuff that's more empowering and more true and authentic. I hope that made sense. So, how high achieving women show up in love, there are a number of patterns that play out. I wanted to highlight 3 today. The strong one, the one that holds it together. People don't ask you if you're okay. That's a big one for me. I'm the strong one. And it's hard to let people see past the strength. Or maybe you're the responsible one. You carry it all, the bills, the decisions, the planning. And then in your relationships, you function and you do everything and end up feeling like you're alone. Or maybe you're the fixer. You're the one that fixes the problems and you over deliver before anyone asks for anything. And you learned if you're useful enough, you'll stay. Or maybe if I do more, I will get love or praise. Maybe that was a pattern that played out from when you were younger. So these are the 3 that I picked to highlight. And which one of these is you? Or are you a mix of all 3? Like you're not, yeah, right? Like you're not just one. A lot of these are linked, but they're things that we do. And again, these have made us really, really successful in other areas of our life, right? Like in our businesses and our careers, maybe in other types of relationships and creating projects, whatever it is. So I'm not saying that being strong and responsible and somebody that's solution oriented is a bad thing. But if it's happening to the point where you're burnt out and you're exhausted and you're over functioning and you're too tired to go there, or it's impacting you in a negative way and it's impacting your ability to attract a healthy relationship, that's where it becomes a problem, especially if we feel like we have to earn love, right? That the worth has to come internally. So the hard truth, and this was something that I had to learn the hard way, is that the very thing that makes you successful in life, all these like high achieving qualities, are what is keeping love at arm's length, because it's hard for you to soften. It's hard for you to stop like performing, right? So strength and responsibility, like I said, they're not flaws. They can be survival strategies. And this is what I see with clients a lot of the time. And when it becomes a persistent survival strategy, over time it starts to wear. And that's something that happened to me. So why I burnt out for an entire decade. So again, it's great if it's working for you, but if it starts to get to a point where it's detrimental, and then you're carrying that same pattern into your relationships and attracting the wrong partners, that's where they need to evolve. And so the contrast I'm talking about is moving from being self-held, and a lot of high achieving, hyper independent women are self-held. You've held yourself through life. You know how to take care of things. You make the money. You carry yourself. A lot of us learn that we have to earn love through what we do. I got to carry everything myself. I can't be weak. And there's probably some control in there and a lack of safety that allows us to protect ourselves from the pain. But in contrast, the work is moving to being self-loved, where I'm worthy without having to earn it. And I can receive support, or I can receive a compliment. I can receive love, and I don't feel guilty or shame. And I trust myself enough to be seen for exactly who I am, a flawsome, which is my way of saying awesome woman with flaws, because we're not about perfection. That's not what I'm talking about. And that the safety comes from within, right? We want to attract someone that's going to help us feel safe. But the big thing I'm saying here is that this needs to come internally first for you to be able to attract a partner that's going to be able to give this to you in a healthy way. And it's about having standards, right? Like, we're not accepting any old dude off the street. We have standards, but staying open and not looking for perfection, because that doesn't exist. Now, I just want to redefine what self-love really means, because I think it's a buzzword and we all know we're supposed to love ourselves, but what is it really? What do I mean? It's not what you think. Like, it's not spa days and bubble baths. It's not selfish, and it's not a good feeling on a good day or an end goal. Self-love is setting a boundary when you need to, like saying no when you feel like there's something you don't want to do or somebody has disrespected you. It's speaking your truth when your voice shakes, asking for help and letting in, and consistently choosing yourself. Because if you don't choose yourself, you're going to abandon yourself. And that's what a lot of us high achieving women do. So the contrast that I'm looking to make here is for you to go from being self-held to loved. And like I said, it's how you show up for yourself on a hard day when you want to break up with yourself, right? Like, not on a good day when you think you're the shit. Because it's easy when we're having a good day. And building a healthy relationship with yourself there's four pillars of this that I just want to highlight, because we throw a lot of words around and it gets really confusing. So self-love is really how I treat myself. Do I treat myself with kindness, or do I berate myself? Your self-worth is what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're not good enough, that's what's going to play out. Self-trust is important because it tells you whether you can rely on yourself. So if you can't rely on yourself to follow through on going to the gym, then how are you going to be able to trust and rely on another person? And then self-care is, how do I take care of myself? That's where the spa comes in, right? So there's all these self words floating around. These are the four pillars that we work on: self-love, self-worth, self-trust, and self-care. And like I said, I'm using the word self-love in an all-encompassing way to describe this, but that is the prerequisite and the companion to having healthy romantic love. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you normalize and what you expect. Let me say that again. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you normalize and what you expect. So if you want a relationship and you think, oh, relationships are hard and men suck, that's what you're going to get, like simply. So you attract who you are being, right? So I'm being an abundant, expansive coach who's wearing a bra. This is part of my being. Part of my being is showing up, listening to high vibe music, putting myself in good, expectant energy. That's who I'm being. When I go out to meet someone on a dating app, I'm being a woman that says, there's so many men out there. Love is on its way to me. I am worthy of love. Instead of, oh my God, this is so hard. I'm so sick of dating. Like these apps just suck. Who am I being when I'm like that? I'm being someone that doesn't have a lot of confidence that there's somebody out there for me, or maybe I'm in needy energy, right? So when I talk about who you are being, that's what I'm talking about. So you attract what you expect and who you are being, not what you want. Whoops. So, like, everything will shift when you stop looking for another person to make you feel whole. It is within you truly. It sounds like a cliche, but I've done the legwork and I look at Jennifer Lopez. Does this woman look like she should have any problems? But she's been very public about her love life. She wrote a book about this. She's done a movie about this on, I watched it on Prime, and she looked for love outside of herself for years in all of her relationships. She even did a video where she talked to her inner child, like Jennifer Lopez, like who didn't, Mark Anthony, Puff Daddy, right? So it happens to her too. She had Ben Affleck. So now I just want you to take a minute and ponder this question. You can shout it out or put it in the chat. So if someone treated you the way you not treat yourself, treat yourself, would you feel loved? Like, really think about that. Or would it feel inconsistent, unavailable, and maybe a bit confusing? How we treat ourselves. I can't even, are you, I don't know if you're typing something in the chat. I've somehow lost the chat. I need to get better at the chat.
Yeah, I lost it and I came back. So yeah, I would say like how I treat myself is definitely how I want to feel loved.
That's amazing. That's great. That's what we want, right? And that's what I'm talking about, because not everyone does. And again, it's not about perfection, because we're human beings, but it starts with us. So how do you make this shift? How do you become the version of you that has the love you desire? I'm talking about identity change here, not a behavior change. Identity. Remember, I talked about how you show up in the world. There are 3 C's. These are my 3 C's of identity change. This is the process. We have commitment, consistency, and conviction. Commitment is where I choose a new identity. I decide. I'm no longer the woman who survives. I am the woman who's open to being supported, chosen, and loved. Whatever you say after the word I am, you bring into your reality. So if I tell my clients, think about what you're saying. If you absent-mindedly say, oh my God, I'm a hot mess, you're a hot mess. So commitment is the first, just like you would make a marriage vow. Number 2 is consistency. This is the work. And there's healing work in here, there's reprogramming, all of the things, but practicing this daily, interrupting the thoughts. What am I thinking? What am I believing? What am I choosing to believe? So it's not one single breakthrough, it's small daily choices that say, this is who I am now. Like, I'm choosing myself. I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing what I say I'm going to do. And then over time, we get to a place of conviction where I'm embodying this version of me. I am the woman that attracts healthy love. I am the woman that men want to be with. I am confident. I am expansive, right? Like I'm embodying this energy. And this is where a lot of women get stuck because it's about embodying this on a regular basis and acting from that place as much as possible. Your predominant energy and being needs to be this I am this embodied version. So those are the three C's of identity change. So you can't think your way to a new identity 100%. Mindset is a huge part of this, but your mindset will help you live your way into it. And this is where I talk about becoming her. And a lot of women who try to do this alone keep ending up back in the same place because they've changed the behavior. They're taking the bag and they're just moving it around, but they're not changing what's going in the bag. And so just a bit of reflection here is for you to imagine who is the version of you that already has the love you desire? Like, who would she be? She's the most authentic version of you without that armor. What has she stopped that you're still doing? Has she stopped that inner critic, that inner conversation that says, like, I'm always going to be alone. There's nobody out there for me? What does she finally allow herself to receive? Can she receive a compliment? Can she receive support? Can she hire someone to help her? Or is she like, well, I'll just do it myself till I'm exhausted? And what's natural for her that feels scary for you right now? So, is it natural for her to say, I'm confident, I am beautiful, I can look in the mirror and feel like, man, I'm the shit? Or is she looking in the mirror and just looking at every part of herself she doesn't like and her energy's going down, right? So, that woman is not far away. She's within you. She's in there. We just need to bring her out. And so, what does this look like in real life, right? So, I wanted to give you some examples. Like Viola Davis, love her. She wrote a memoir. This woman has an Oscar, like she's won awards. And she said she spent most of her life believing she was unworthy of love. Can you believe that? She told herself, I'm not good enough, despite all the success she had. This woman has been in TV, movies. And so worthiness doesn't really care how successful we are, right? All of these women I've shown you, they're successful women. Jennifer Lopez, we all feel it. Mel Robbins, we know her, capable, high functioning. She fell apart on the inside because she tried to carry everything by herself because she didn't think she was worthy of receiving the help. So her shift was to receive support. So we're very good at giving as high achieving women. Like, let me give that to you. Let me make that happen. Let me fix it. Let me plan it. And then we go into our relationships and do that. And we exhaust ourselves and wonder why we can't attract a man that's going to give to us. So now let's put this into action. And so this is where we're going to take 5 minutes. I'm just looking at time. And this is where you're going to build what I call your identity snapshot. Okay. And there's 4 things. You can take a screenshot of this that you're going to build. And I'll show you how to take this further after this. So the first part is that new version of you, this aligned version of you. Who is the woman who already has the love you desire? And underneath that, I've just given you some prompts, right? So when I talk about identity, who is she? What is her inner conversation like? Like, what is she saying to herself? How does she view rest? Like, does she believe she needs to hustle and make everything happen? How does she view time? Does she like rush through life or does she move with ease and flow? How does she add value in the world with her work, her purpose? Because you don't live in your relationship in isolation with everything else. So those are just some things for you to think about. How does she take care of herself? How does she greet people? Where does she live? Like what's her life like? Does she work out? Does she take care of her well-being? How does she view failure? So me, I view failure as an opportunity for myself to learn and grow. And I view rest as something that I need to take. And I view that I'm a creator of time. I have all the time in the world to do what I need. So as you create this version of you, this is where the beliefs over time will start to change. And then commitment is pick one pattern that you're no longer saying yes to. Is it that you keep saying yes to doing something that you don't want to do? You keep showing up in a relationship or a friendship or something that's draining you that you don't want. So pick one pattern. Then consistency is pick one behavior that you're going to practice this week. So what is that? Is there something you've been wanting to do? Like maybe you want to go for a walk every day because it's going to make you feel better because you're very stressed. So is that I'm going to go for a walk 3 times a week because that's how you show up for yourself and that's how you build self-trust. And then conviction is what's a belief I'm ready to release? Is it a belief around relationships? Is it a belief around men? Is it a belief around yourself? I'm not good enough. Like I'm always going to be alone. So take a screenshot of this, and this is what you're going to put together, and this will give you a snapshot of what that new identity is that you're stepping into. And so this is yours to keep. And normally I would give you 5 minutes. Do you want 5 minutes? No, you're good. And in 5 minutes, well, 5 minutes have passed. I'll show you how to get my eyes on it. So I'm going to move on. And so now let's talk about next steps. So what I'd love for you to do and want to offer for you to do is to set up a call to review what you've just created. So this is a free 30-minute call. There's a QR code on the screen for you to get my eyes on this, where I can give you feedback and reflect exactly where you are in this shift and give you some tangible steps for you to move forward. So this is completely complimentary and it's a way for you to get my eyes on what you've created. So there's the QR code. I invite you to take a screenshot of that, or there's a link to the scheduling page. You're going to select discovery call, but it says the impacts identity snapshot in there, and that is absolutely free. So I encourage you to take advantage of this. I wish this was something that I had when I was going through my journey. Or if you're ready for transformation and you want to go all in, I would love to support you and invite you in to work with me for 3 months. And this is where you're going to get personalized one-on-one support with me, where we go through this identity snapshot and we dive into it in depth. And we look at where you are now versus where you want to be. And we release all of that baggage and that junk, the stuff that you're carrying around. And we bring in the beliefs that you want to carry so you can embody this version of you that has the love that you want, this authentic, empowered, aligned, expansive, loving version of you that radiates that expectant energy, and then tools for how you can take this into your daily life. You'll have support one-on-one for me for 3 months. And we're going to move through all of these phases of identity change, like I talked about, and align your identity with that woman who's truly ready for love. So the QR code is there on the screen. I invite you to book it. It's 3,000 US for 3 months. So if you're ready to go all in, you're welcome to book a call. I will put a link. There's a link for you there. So Katrina, I don't have a link full stop to the actual program yet, but that's the invitation. I would love to support you. And again, you have two options, right? If you want to just review this identity snapshot, it's a great first step. Or if you want to go all in, option two is there for you as well to book a call. So you don't need more information. This is about becoming her and really stepping into that next level version of you.